What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I Used to Be Pay, and today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how Lil Yachty has kind of created his own little hate train. Now, Lil Yachty has historically been one of the most hated rappers in the game, but as of recently, I feel like a lot of the hate he's been getting is because of his own actions. Now, before I get into the video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. It helps me out a ton. And also, you might hear a little bit of rain in the background. I'm not really sure how loud it'll end up being when the video is done, but just letting you know now, if you're hearing droplets, you're not going crazy. There is rain outside my window. And also, I'm going to try to be a little bit more laid back this video, a little bit more chill. I'm still going to be scripted, but like not as like reading a script and like, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit more relaxed. But recently, Lil Yachty's been getting hated on a lot, but this isn't anything new. Lil Yachty has been a controversial figure in rap since 2015. Since he got his start into the game, he's been hated on. Lil Yachty was looked at as the prime example of rap going in the trash. If you go back to 2015, 16, 17, old heads looked at Lil Yachty as like the rap antichrist, pretty much. Like he was the spearhead of this new generation of rappers that dyed their hair, were trash, were all drugged up, even though I don't even think Yachty was on drugs, but still, were on drugs. They mumbled through their music. They didn't make music with any substance. They just wanted to party, have fun, and they kind of were ruining hip-hop, at least according to the old heads. And like I said, Yachty was the spearhead of that. And so Yachty was always considered trash. He never really focused on bars early in his career. He was just kind of rapping and having fun. Think back to that like Joe Budden clip where he's like, I just want to have fun, bro. And Joe Budden is screaming. His veins are popping out of his neck and forehead. He's spitting across the stage or whatever, the set. He's going crazy on Yachty. And Yachty's like, chill, like
You to be aware of your business. I want you to know whether you're in a 360 or not. I want you to appreciate the culture that changed your life and took you from college dorm rooms eating fucking oodles and noodles. I want you who's well-spoken and articulates himself well.
My nigga, chill.
this is the type of narrative that was surrounding Lil Yachty when he first entered his career. But as of recently, he's pretty much flipped that on his head. His music that he's been dropping over the last, really his whole career, but mostly over the last like 5 years has really been a concerted effort. I don't know if that's the right word there, but an effort to make sure that you know that he's a good artist. Like he's been trying more on his music in terms of lyrically. He's been doing different styles. He's been pretty much experimenting all over the board. He just dropped an album that wasn't even rap. So Lil Yachty has really been trying to get that respect back. And I think a lot of people do respect Yachty and his rapping ability now. I feel like if you're still calling Yachty trash to this day, you're just never going to like him. Now, again, you don't have to be like his biggest fan, like, oh my God, but I feel like you can at least respect his music at this point. Like, I feel like he's done enough to gain that. But, and I say this with a big but, Lil Yachty has started to build up more hate for himself. Now, Yachty, again, has always been hated on, but I think this hate is a little bit different. Now, recently, Yachty's been getting hated on online, and I think most of it's because of how he's been speaking about rap. Yachty has just been sharing his opinions about rap and how, you know, the game's in a rough spot and people aren't doing this and they're not doing that. And people just really don't like it. Whenever you give your opinion on something, especially when you participate in that thing, people are going to now look at you to be perfect. They expect you to have no flaws. If you're pointing out any issues here, you better not have any issues with your music whatsoever. And recently, Lil Yachty just dropped a song that was a sample of an old Beanie Siegel song. And it wasn't very good, at least in most people's opinion. It just wasn't very good. And it got a really negative reaction. Now, that's not necessarily like, oh my God, there's a Lil Yachty hate train, but you can tell by people's reactions to the video or to the music video or to the songs, it was a little bit further than just they don't like this song. It was Lil Yachty sucks. He's never been good at rapping. He talks all this and that, and he can't even put together 2 rhymes. This song is trash. Y'all be gassing up Yachty. Why do y'all gas it? Like, you could tell that they didn't like the song. Yeah, of course, you know, you don't have to like everybody's song every single time, but it was a little bit further than just not liking Yachty's song. It was something a little bit deeper there. And I think that that's been very prevalent recently with Lil Yachty. I think the song was just kind of an avenue for people to kind of like voice their opinions. Now, Yachty has again put a microscope on himself with how outwardly spoken he has been with pretty much everything in rap over the last like couple of years. Recently, he said something like hip hop is in a terrible place. because, you know, there's not a lot of originality and people are just, you know, remaking old songs basically. Well, he didn't say that word for word, but he said that rap's in a terrible place because of quick, low quality music being put out and there's less risk taking and originality. And I think he's kind of alluding to the whole like sample thing. Like think of somebody like Jack Harlow who just kind of slaps a sample on a song. And I mean, he adds his own into there, but the sample kind of carries the song. There's been a lot of that going on recently, especially in rap. So I think that's probably a lot of what he's speaking about. He also said something to the effect of, he loves a lot of these young artists. A lot of them are nice in their turn or whatever, but a lot of them also make the same music. Now, there is some validity to what Lil Yachty's saying. Like, he's not just talking completely out of his butt, but when you look at Lil Yachty's track record, he can kind of be put into some of the categories that he's talked about. Now, not all of them. Again, I didn't even make this clear at the start of the video. I like Lil Yachty. I am a Yachty fan. I enjoy his music. I'm not a hater of Yachty. I think people give him a little bit of a hard time, but still, I think he makes some solid music. But you can't look at Yachty's entire discography and not be like, all right, he got a couple BS songs on there. He got some, maybe more than a couple. He got some songs on there where it's like, all right, this was probably some BS, Yachty. So I feel like people are a little bit upset with him because it's like, dude, you were the one that was getting the finger wagged at you. You were the one that was getting talked down on, and now you're doing it to all these young artists. Like, when it's Yachty specifically, if it was like, I don't know, Denzel Curry, somebody like Denzel Curry who came into the game and was already established as a really good rapper in that like lyrical sense, if he was one of the guys that was like, man, these new rappers, they ain't really, I think people would be a little bit more accepting to that. But because Yachty was the guys that he's talking about now, he was the guys that people were calling unoriginal, even though he was the guy that was, you know, not really making different music than everyone else. He was the guy that people were making fun of for this stuff in terms of low quality, you know, low output music. Like, this is kind of the category that people used to put Yachty in. Fair or not, it could have been wrong completely, which I think it was for the most part, but fair or not, that criticism was there for Lil Yachty. And so when he turns around finally, when he finally gets his respect later in his career and puts that same criticism on the artists beneath him now or younger than him, it just comes off really weird. You know, it's kind of like rules. Well, I wouldn't say rules for thee, but and not for me. I would say it's more like when people really, really complain about like a power structure or some sort of unfair treatment, and then they get to that level of power, and then they just continue the line of command. They just continue that chain of unfair treatment that they were just complaining about. It's like, you know, it's really unfortunate when you're the one at the bottom, but when you're the one at the top, you're like, oh, this is great. Like, I don't want to get rid of this. Why would I want to get rid of this? It's only when you're at the bottom when you kind of want to get rid of that. So I think that's how a lot of people feel about Lil Yachty. But I will say this. A lot of people don't know what it's like to be the guy that's constantly getting dumped on. A lot of people don't know what it's like to be the guy at the very, very bottom and everyone's raining on you, dumping on you. You suck. You're not that good. How are you even in the game? Wow, rap has really come to trash if this guy's at the top. Like, a lot of people have never really experienced that. So once you finally break out of that and you become a respected artist, it's kind of hard not to be that guy. Like, I get it. If I'm Yachty in that situation, I get it. When you go from the shitty to the shitter, I get it. I understand it. When you get through that rough patch in your career where everyone's hating on you, everyone's down on you, I understand why you kind of want to flip the switch a little bit, why you want to kind of flip the roles. Also, just like a little bit of a caveat, I guess, a lot of people are hating on Yachty right now because he's been working with Drake, and they say that he's making Drake worse and he doesn't like deserve to work with Drake. Like, I don't know. I think that takes a little bit of just like a reach. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, I don't know. I don't think Yachty can be blamed for creating hate on that one. The stuff where he's talking about rap and like kind of giving his opinion, even though he used to kind of be that guy, I get that. But the stuff with Drake is just like, all right, y'all just being kind of weird. Sure, he doesn't deserve. Who deserves to? I don't know. That's a really weird thing to say. Like, you don't deserve to work with Drake. Like, if you think he's making Drake's music bad, like, I guess, but like, I don't know. That's just a weird thing. But something that is in his control, also adding to this hate that he's kind of created on his own, is the whole situation with Uzi. Now, Yachty and Uzi have kind of not necessarily beefed for a while, but there's been like something there. Like, people can tell there's something there. They might not be, you know, the best of friends. They might not be super cordial, or at least not anymore. There's something there. We don't really know what it is. The fans don't really know what it is. But a snippet came out of Yachty rapping, and people were saying he was talking about Uzi. He was dissing, and people were saying it was about Uzi. And Yachty was like, I don't want to say he was going off on the fans, but he was like, y'all tripping, like y'all just instigating beef, like I ain't got nothing to do, I ain't talking about Uzi, whatever. Like he was making it clear that fans were the ones creating beef. There was nothing there. What are you guys talking about? Shut up. This is fans creating beef. This is fans stepping in and playing their own little headcanon and basically gaslit everybody just to keep it real. Because then the full snippet came out and he said this pretty much word for word, not completely, but he said, no matter how bad the fans want, or no, he said, he said, no matter how bad y'all want the collab, I ain't friends with Uzi. I'd rather go CO at Juvie. I'd rather drink an onion smoothie. I'll never click up with a goofy. Now, beefing with Uzi, like, especially for Yachty, he's always going to lose that on the internet because people just love Uzi. He's an internet darling. He has every single person on Twitter. Like, they love Uzi. But when you gaslight the fans and act like, oh my God, what are you talking about? And then that full snippet comes out and it's very obvious that you're beefing with Uzi. You said you'd never click up with a goofy. And not only that, like, I don't even think that's the worst part. You said you'd rather drink an onion smoothie? I'd rather drink an onion smoothie? Bro, that's fighting words. An onion smoothie is insane. Like, me personally, I would take that way more disrespectful than him calling me a goofy or whatever else he said in the bar. I'd rather drink an onion smoothie is insane. Like, that's making it very clear you don't want to work with Uzi. So he was kind of gaslighting the fans on that. And just going into like a sort of pseudo beef with Uzi, like, even though it's not a real beef, just having some sort of like disdain or dislike or whatever's going on there, some sort of conflict with Uzi, he was going to be like the bad guy online just because it's Uzi. Everyone loves Uzi, right? But now you add on to the fact that he basically lied and gaslit every person on Twitter and was making fun of people for saying that he was going at Uzi. It just makes it 2 times worse. So he's kind of added that onto his plate alongside the stuff where he's giving his comments about rap and talking about this and talking about that. The Uzi thing has just also not helped him whatsoever. So a lot of people at this moment are just kind of looking for things to complain about when it comes to Lil Yachty. Now, again, I'm not hating on like Lil Yachty. I don't care about any of the stuff that he's done necessarily. I like his music, but yeah, you can see that this is being built on its own. And I'm going to be real. I think a lot of this has come from a newfound confidence from Lil Yachty. I think he's really started to feel himself after that album, Let's Start Here. I really do think so. He put out an album that a lot of people really enjoyed. It wasn't your regular rap trap album. He was experimenting outside his own genre, and it went really well. And I think he started to, feel himself. He started to believe his own hype a little bit, which there's nothing wrong with that. If you're going to be a musician, you got to be a little delusional, right? Like, that's just the truth when it comes to something like that. So I'm not necessarily mad at it, but I can see how his confidence is growing and how he's sharing his opinion more and how that can get annoying because Yachty, for most people, even most rap fans who kind of respect him now, still don't see him as like a top dog in rap. They still don't see him as one of the most skilled rappers. They still don't see him as like, an A-level rapper. So when he starts giving his opinion on the rap game and how bad it is, they're like, dude, you're part of the problem, even though I don't think he is. But a lot of fans are still like, dude, sure, you dropped some good music here and there, but we're not going to forget about all that stuff in 2015, 16, 17, 18. Like, they're still holding on to that and acting like it's trash, even though, again, I don't think it was. But you got to admit that there's a lot of, let's just say, questionable music in Yachty's career. A lot of music where I can understand why a lot of people wouldn't like it. So when people see him finally move on from that point in his career to a more established artist and then to start pointing the finger at everyone else and talking about how bad rap is, it's just kind of like, come on, dog. Like, you know what it's like to be on the other side of that. You came up in the game 2015, and that was the end of rap. 2015, 16, SoundCloud, oh my God. It was the end of rap. Rap is done as we know it. It's a joke genre. These kids are ruining it. It's never going to be good again. They're never going to sell any music. Nobody's going to go to This is just pure trash. And he was at the very front of that. And so I feel like a lot of fans are seeing this and are like, dog, aren't you being a little hypocritical? You might not understand what these new artists are doing. You might not like the sample stuff, but a lot of the fans like, you know what I'm saying? He might be right. I think, honestly, Yachty is kind of right in a lot of the stuff he says. But you got to understand, when you are pointing the finger so hard, it's 3 fingers pointed back at you. Now, I think that's a little bit ironic since I'm making this video talking about Yachty and how he's created hate for himself, but you get the point. Now, do I think this hate is going to do anything massive for Yachty's career? No, I don't think it's going to kill his career. I really don't even think it's that serious. I just think it's interesting, and I think somebody needed to add to the dialogue about what's going on with Lil Yachty right now, because a lot of people are jumping on the hate train. There's a huge hate train for Yachty, and I think a lot of it is just due to the fact that he's feeling himself right now. He's really feeling himself after that last album. He's been, flying with Drake. He's doing music with Drake, helping him with his last couple projects. He just dropped a song with Cole not long ago. They're going bar for bar. Like, Yachty's feeling himself a little bit right now, and he's letting the world know that. So that's probably a little bit of a reason as to why people don't really like that. They want you to be humble. Oh, man, I'm so happy to be here. They want you to do all that stuff, but hey, Yachty's feeling himself right now, and he's creating a little bit of hate for himself, especially in that Uzi situation. I feel like that one was one where I'm like, all right, Yachty's wrong there. The stuff with like him giving his opinion and people being mad at it, I don't really care, but the Uzi situation where you gaslight the fans and tell them, oh my God, what are you talking about? And then the full snippet comes out and you're very obviously dissing him. It's just like, all right, bro, like you just, come on, that's on you. But I will say, I don't think this is anything super, super monumental. I don't know if this will impact him in the future. Maybe if he keeps doing stuff like the Uzi thing, it will, but I seriously doubt it. I just wanted to kind of document how Yachty is getting hated on a lot right now, and a lot of it's probably his fault. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm dumb. Yachty, if you see this video, don't DM me like, oh, you bum, you broke boy. Like, I like your music, bro. I'm just being honest and looking at the landscape of what's going on and why a lot of people just aren't on your side right now. So, whatever. But if you made it this far, I greatly appreciate it. Have a good day. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace.